Welcome to United TV. This is our Bariatric Friday event, and I am Kemal Erkan. I'm here with Dr. Isaias Irgau. Dr. Irgau, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Kemal. Again, great to be back on another exciting Bariatric Friday.
Thank you for being with us. I know you had office hours today, and then this event is in between your patient hours, and we know that this is important, so that's why we are here. So today we are going to discuss maintaining weight loss after bariatric surgery. As we are already discussing these in different, every week, different topics, it's easier for us to just handle one at a time. So there may be some other questions that we may have, but main thing is we're going to focus on maintaining weight loss. Now, it was, I think, Dr. yesterday, I'm not allowed to show this, but I'm going to share what it looks like. And I actually showed this person from our bariatric group to Sean, who helps me with the presentations. Patient put their before and after picture, and we are going to start sharing some of those once we have the actual releases from them. The amount of weight loss is almost, they are probably down to 40% of where they started. Like if they were like 400 pounds, they're down to 240. They look less than half, like how much they lost. So this is incredible. The change is incredible, and this is not an exception, because we see this with different patients. What we also know is that after the surgery, this is not over. So this is a commitment that we have to make and make certain things, certain changes in our lives, how we live. So that's where you're going to help us today and teach us how to maintain the weight loss after the surgery.
Absolutely, Kemal. Our relationship with our patients after we do bariatric surgery is a lifelong relationship. It's a long-term relationship because we have to keep them healthy. We have to make sure that the weight that they have lost stays away. And that engagement is important. And we are going to be part, as we will talk in a little bit, of the way to help them keep that weight off. So very, very importantly, whenever we talk about bariatric surgery, we tell patients that bariatric surgery is a tool. It's not necessarily a magic wand, right? It is a tool, very, very powerful tool, but nevertheless a tool. So if they have tried to eat healthy and exercise, and they failed time and time again to lose weight, and they've realized ultimately that bariatric surgery is the right answer for them, we're not telling them, okay, stop eating healthy, stop exercising, let's do bariatric surgery. What we tell them is, to the healthy eating, to the regular physical activity, we're going to add this powerful tool so that not only you will lose a lot of weight and you will become healthy, but you will be able to maintain that weight loss for the rest of life. So struggling with weight becomes history in their life. That is our goal, essentially. But it requires commitment. It requires attention. It requires constant focus. And this is really the topic we're going to talk about today, essentially. So the basic foundations remain the same. In other words, we are what we eat, right? We have to be absolutely careful about what we eat. So eating cannot be a mindless, casual, unplanned activity any longer. It has to be focused. It has to be planned, and they have to be knowledgeable of what they're eating. Many of the sessions that our nutritionists hold with our patients in preparation for bariatric surgery is really to equip them with this foundational knowledge. And we want them to keep that knowledge and practice that knowledge for the rest of their lives as well. Now, this does not mean that there are not going to be times in which they lose focus, in which perhaps they will be indulging in things that they are not part of their regular diet. We're talking about habitual eating. We're not talking about the occasional weekend, occasional vacation in which they will be doing other things. We're talking about habitually what it is that you do. A bariatric patient should know what they will be eating from 7 days a week, right? They should know. It should not be something unplanned, right? And then when they eat, they have to understand that eating foods that are substantive, that are nutritious, that are low in calorie, that fill them up quickly is very important for them, right? And then also the whole practice of eating, right? You have to eat and be mindful of your eating. You cannot afford yourself to really relinquish the activity of eating to a secondary activity when your mind is wandering on other things, whether it's watching TV, talking to other people. Yes, occasionally you may engage in that kind of behavior, but foundationally, as a matter of habit, when you're eating, you have to be focused. So there has to be what we call mindful eating, right? So
how do we actually do that, Dr. So like it's not to put you on the spot, but it's kind of easy for us to say mindful eating. Well, I had my dinner last night and I thought I was mindful, but then after I ate, I didn't feel so mindful. So how do we do that?
well, we have the tool now. We have the tool, and that's exactly what we're talking about, right? Let's take the most common procedure we do, right? The gastric sleeve or sleeve gastrectomy, right? From a stomach that naturally tended to just expand and accommodate however much food we push into it. Now we've changed the stomach into a fairly stiff tube that can accommodate only a certain amount. And after that, the pressure inside that tube rises so that if we overfill it, discomfort starts to happen, right? That is a powerful tool. That is something that people who have not had bariatric surgery do not have, right? So what we tell them is be mindful to that sensation. Once you start feeling full, you don't want to be going to the extent in which you are uncomfortable or, God forbid, throwing up because you've eaten too much, right? You want to be in a situation where you start to understand that that stomach is getting full. That requires practice, that requires focus, right? The difference between being full and uncomfortable for somebody who's had bariatric surgery could be one bite, one extra bite, right? For you and I mean, you correctly are bringing the example, for instance, the difference between feeling full and uncomfortable could be a whole new serving, right? You've had appetizer, you've had the first course, and now if you want the second course, you were full in the first course, and now you're adding this other course. Now you may be uncomfortable after you've eaten a whole other plate. For a bariatric patient, it's different. It's an additional bite that can cause that, right? So we want our patients to start being very much in tune with what's happening in their stomach, in that when they feel full, they would stop before they become uncomfortable. Now, there are different strategies to really practice that and make it work well for them, right? One of the strategies, for instance, Kemal, is to have a plate which has less food so that you don't get into a temptation of, eating more, right? So many of our patients, for instance, instead of having a very large plate, they use very small plates, right? In a small plate, there is only a certain amount of food that you can put, right? Once you're done, you're done. If you have a large plate, then, and you're distracted and you're doing other things, the temptation to continue to eating will be there, right? But there is also a much more problematic issue with that, Kemal, and that is you can actually get used to getting that extra bite without discomfort. Sometimes patients ask me, how is it possible for somebody whose stomach has been reduced to about 15% of its original size to gain weight years afterwards? Well, I tell them it's not a question of you now being able to grow your stomach back to its original size. It's that now you're allowing for that stiff stomach to slowly become more and more compliant. able to accommodate more pressure, right? Which means that if at the beginning the patient was feeling full after they ate 5 bites, right? And then when they try to eat that bite number 6, they feel uncomfortable. If they, day in and day out, they push that bite number 6, they will reach a point where they are not uncomfortable anymore with that bite number 6. And then what will happen next time, Kemal? They may try bite number 7, right? And bite number 7 was uncomfortable at the beginning, but gradually that discomfort may go away as well if the stomach becomes adjusted to that additional bite, right? The problem here, Kemal, is that those extra 2 bites in each meal, they will be more calories in a day. And you need only about 50 to 100 calories extra every day for you to gain about 10 pounds in a year, Kemal. So if they were at their comfortable weight, they were 250, now they are 150. If that behavior starts, Kemal, they may be gaining 10 pounds now over 1 year, right? And if that behavior continues, it will be 20 pounds. And before they know it, now they will be back to the situation they were before, suddenly, right? And this is what we don't want patients to get into. That's why that mindful eating is important. But as we will talk in this conversation, Kamal, there are other components to this. For instance, regular follow-up, weighing yourself regularly, and physical activity are also extremely important tools.
For the regular follow-ups, we, at the time of the surgery, we already schedule our patients follow-ups up to 5 years. This is with the surgical group. It can be with the nutritionists as well, but we also want people to follow up with their primary care. Your annual wellness visit is something that you shouldn't be missed. And also those surgical follow-ups, post-surgical follow-ups are extremely important. But the trouble that I see, Dr. Irgau, I'm sure you'll agree with this, the patient that I was talking about earlier lost 180 pounds. I was just checking that earlier. When I lose 180 pounds in 1 year, then why do I want to go back to the follow-ups? So
absolutely. I mean, and that's exactly, it's, human nature essentially is such that once you feel in a comfortable position, you feel that comfort is going to last forever, right? It's very difficult to see beyond that. But it's our job to educate them that the danger of weight regain will be there constantly because the biology that drove their weight to that level to begin with, the genetic makeup that they have inherited from their parents, that really was a main driver in their weight gain in the first place, that biology hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
It is the process in which the metabolic activity happens that has been changed by the surgery. But the actual biology that drives that type of energy conservation hasn't changed. So in the right setup, in the right situation, it is possible for the weight to come back with any bariatric surgery, right? I used to tell you that there was a bariatric surgeon, 20 years ago in meetings, he used to tell us, you can out-eat any bariatric surgery, meaning that if you really try very hard, you can regain weight with any bariatric procedure because the foundational biology that drove the weight to that level is still there. That hasn't gone away. That is why it is very important for patients to know that bariatric surgery is the beginning of our relationship with them. It's not the end of it, right? So we want them to continue to come to us. Now, granted, very often what we will see, Kemal, is that we will see patients actually coming to see us at their best. When they've reached really their weight loss, they want to show us how successful they have been. They want to show us how grateful they are to bariatric surgery, and we love them. But far more important, we want to be there when they are struggling, right? And it is when patients are struggling that they tend to be shy of coming, right? Because they don't want to show that they are failing. But we want to make them understand that we're there to support them. So we don't want them to wait until they've regained substantial amount of weight before they come after us. We want them to come early, right?
Before it becomes a crisis.
Because before it becomes a crisis. Now, when is it that it becomes the crisis? Typically, in my 20-something years in which I've been doing bariatric surgery, Kemal, what I have observed is that even people who lose weight and keep their weight or for a decade, for 12 years, 15 years, at some point they may start gaining weight. And this typically is associated with a life event. It could be divorce. It could be losing your loved one. It could be losing a job, some crisis that really stresses them so much that they lose focus. Not only they lose focus, but eating becomes a refuge for them again. And that's dangerous, right? That is the time when we want them to come back to us, where we can show them that help is at hand, whether it's through counseling or whether through encouragement. And that kind of help can help them avert that crisis-related weight gain that often, if left really unattended, can lead to significant weight gain, and then it's very difficult to lose weight again. Our body becomes even more resistant if we are gaining weight after we've lost it once before.
So now the other really important thing is like having a food log, right? So we want people to write down what they eat, record what you eat. So if you remember me sharing the diet that I'm following and the changes that I had to make, and I'm going to share that just so that, because I want people to see, it's hard. It's hard even if you try. So so let me see, Dr. Gal, let me know if you're able to see what I'm sharing.
I can.
So what I'm showing here is, this is my food log.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my activities, my journal. I did 27 out of the 30 days in April.
Yep. Very good.
So there are days that I did fasting. It's averaging here. The ones that I didn't do, but for those, the one that I did, averaging about 16.4 hours.
Excellent.
What you see here is, you remember one of the issues that I was able to reconcile in February. I'm actually putting, when I have any type of dessert, like milkshake is one of the weaknesses that I have probably. But Dr. Gal, do you see any ice cream here?
I do not.
Okay, because I didn't.
Good. That's great.
So this helps me a lot.
Yes, absolutely. I can see that. I can see that because we very often, willingly or not, tend to forget things that we may have eaten, and then we wonder, right? But tracking it in this way actually is extremely important, because it helps us really look into where we are, and then it helps us prevent situations where we may be falling, right?
Because the reason, again, like you and I, we didn't have bariatric surgery. What we are trying to say is that we go through the same thing. We are not saying that you have bariatric surgery now, your life is going to be hell. No, that's not the case. Hopefully people understand that. So what we are saying is that everyone at a certain point in their life, they have to start paying attention to these, and we do. Now, the thing that I learned from you, Dr. Irgau, the thing that I learned from reading and listening others, I knew that I had to be honest with myself, and I need to do certain things. And COVID really messed up our regular routine. So then, I had to go back to where I was, and I still need to. So like, this jacket is from last year, and I want to be able to get into this without having any discomfort. And those are kind of like our ways of measuring where we are. Now, the thing is, it's not just with the having a food journal, but it's the other thing is, physical activity. I'm gonna again, so be the honest citizen, and so this is this much. This is this week, and please don't jinx it, people, because sometimes when people are envying, I get sick for 3 days when I share these, so I want to make sure that they are not being jealous, please. So I had to put 10,000 steps average. And trust me, this needs an extra push for me to do it because we are in the office. I have to really try to get to that. If I don't do it, I'm in trouble. Like, this morning I already have, 2.3 miles walk, but I know it's not done because I had to do it. Now I have like a dinner meeting at 7:30. So that means between the time I leave here and go to go home for the meeting, I need to make sure that I can put another 30 minutes, and I have to plan for that. And this is most of, like, if you are really lucky and you have a great metabolism, that's fine, but that's not the case. So for 90% of the people, that's not the case. So that's why when you have to follow these things, don't follow it with the victim mentality. Oh, I had a bariatric surgery. No, I do it. He does it. Other people are doing it. The person who was in this room a couple minutes ago, he has to put his exercise. The person in front of my office is doing it. Everyone is doing it, and none of us had bariatric surgery. This is the simple. So everything that we are telling you, and everyone else actually should be also following these, because that's what the key is. Dr. Irgau, for the
I want to add something about the physical activity, Kemal. That's very important. In fact, I believe that physical activity is even more important after bariatric surgery than it is before bariatric surgery. And why is that? And the reason is because it's actually hard to lose weight just with physical activity. And that's why people give up very often, because they work out, and yet the weight doesn't budge. Physical activity, actually, at least to the level that most people are capable of undertaking, is important for maintaining your weight. That's one very key thing that people need to understand, right? So if you have reached a certain weight after you've lost weight with bariatric surgery, one of the best way to keep that weight off is to exercise, regular physical activity. The key is it has to be regular. So people need to really plan to have a regime of physical activity that is manageable, that is appropriate for them, that works for their schedule. They shouldn't be doing something really crazy that is unsustainable, right? It doesn't matter whether you've done something really crazy for 2-3 weeks or even 3 months. What matters most is what are you able to do in the long term, right? Now, the walking issue that you have brought is fantastic, right? Because if you can track your walking, and nowadays we're all electronically connected, we don't even need a smartwatch to be able to do that. We just need our smartphone on our person, and that will be able to track our movement. So from the moment we wake up, right, from that horizontal position, and we're now vertical, until we go back to that horizontal position in bed at night, what is movement like in our life? That determines really whether we're sedentary or we're active. Clearly, because of our job or other things, we may find we spend many hours in a sedentary fashion, just like you were saying, right? But what we have to do is we have to incorporate times, hours, minutes in between where we are up and about. And that movement is the key. And what I tell patients very often is they should aim at least for about 7,000 steps a day. Now, that sounds a lot, and it is if you think about it. But if you track your steps regularly, you can actually tweak your day to add more steps, right? So that could be like parking further away consistently. It could be taking the longest route when you're at the mall, at a store, or in a place if you have time. Consistently again, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, all little things that will add movement. The other important portion of this mindset is that every time you are walking means you're not sitting, because you cannot do both things at the same time. So every opportunity that adds walking to your day, it's subtracting sedentary time. You are sitting less time, essentially, every time you're walking more. So that kind of mindset is very important particularly for our patients in the long term. So they have to be active. Activity has to be part of it. And again, most important thing here is not to have a crazy schedule in the first year after bariatric surgery, something you cannot sustain in the long term. The most important thing is to look at your schedule, to look at your life, to look at your own situation and say, what kind of regular physical activity am I able to sustain in the long term, and then stick to that. That is really very, very important.
So while we were going through this, Dr. I want to share this again with the log because I think I explained this to you what I was doing with what I'm doing. So I took this back to November. Okay, so I was not entering the the treats like the milkshake or ice cream. So I knew that I need to make a change. So as you can see, they're all empty before. So as soon as I start entering it, look at here, like how it changed here.
Yes.
So I knew I was kind of guilty of that. But then boom, like I'm clear for almost 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So then that's what it takes to get to like, because if I don't have this, I won't be. In fact, I thought I did this maybe a couple of months ago. Apparently, I did it in November. So that's why tracking is important because we don't remember this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know that I have really good memory. Then if I don't remember, who else is going to remember? So if I had to put $25, I was going to say January, but apparently it's November. So it's important. So activity, because I actually check every day. The log, I do it every other day maybe. So then make sure that, because it's simple Monday through Friday, so I don't have to do much. So the weekends messing us up. That's where we can actually do a little bit more activity,
right?
Offset some of those.
Yeah.
The psychological support, how important that is for the long term, Dr. Erkan?
I think it's critical, Kemal. I think it's critical because, as I said, first of all, very often we struggle whenever we have challenges in life that stress us emotionally, right? This could be, relationship based or others. So having some type of support is very important. But also, bariatric surgery itself can be a source of emotional challenge afterwards, right? A person who looked at themselves in a certain way for most of their life, now suddenly they look very different. And accepting that may have its own challenges psychologically. So have some type of readiness to seek help with a counselor is very important. The same is true for how others look at us. This could be even close loved ones. Our relationship with them might take a different turn and might have to be reassessed. It might have to be re-engaged, Kemal, for a number of reasons, right? And that requires awareness, and very often help is very important. As you know, all our patients do have to go through a psychological evaluation before bariatric surgery. But as I very often tell patients, that psychological support may be very important afterwards as well. So that that avenue should not be forgotten. People should not be struggling in silence when these things happen, because it's very difficult sometimes to overcome these things just alone. But obviously, the other bigger picture about this support is to seek support with the bigger bariatric community. And as we know, we have support groups that meet on a very regular basis, once a month. And, I encourage patients to, if they can, attend all of them, right? Just put it in their schedule. Okay, the first Tuesday of every month, CHRIAS has a support group. I will attend to that. They put it in their calendar, and thanks to the technology now, they don't have to be there in person. It can be done virtually, and attend that. And all they have to do is just listen. They don't even have to participate if they don't want to. If they participate, if they engage, that's good, but they don't have to do that either. Just listening to other people and knowing that other people also have ways of overcoming challenges by itself can be therapeutic, Kemal. It can be very helpful. It can be liberating in a way, knowing that others also have faced the same challenges, because sometimes we feel helpless, and we also feel as if we're not good enough, when we're not able to solve problems by ourselves. But knowing that others are going through the same challenges can be very helpful. So support groups are very important. If they cannot attend, 12 sessions in a year, maybe do 6, come every other month, or try to attend 6 sessions a year. And that by itself will keep them connected as well. And of course, importantly, our office is also there. Yes, we do have scheduled appointments, but we want patients to go to their patient portal or pick up the phone and make an appointment when they feel they need our support from that point of view as well. Yes, we are surgeons, but we are also human beings. We are able to listen to our patients when they are struggling and provide empathy as well.
And talking about the support group, so it's extremely simple from our website. So then once you're on CHRIAS.com, you go to support group meeting registration. This is for you to become part of the Zoom meeting that we have once a month. But the other thing that we have is the Facebook groups. And that's also, if you go to this option here, then it will take you to the Facebook, and then we'll make sure that you are approved. We need to make sure that you're a CHRIAS patient. So that's how simple that is. It's a private one, but like a lot of examples that I get is from our support group in Facebook. So there are about 400 people right now. 403, maybe 3-4 of them are our employees, but that's a good group of people there to share a lot of knowledge and information and get some advice from those who are going through the same. So, Dr. Irgau, I think we covered most of the main issues. Now, one thing that is important for those who are following us on a regular basis, we have a topic-specific playlist on our YouTube channel. So if we didn't maybe cover certain things in this one, another video, you'll see that we have it. So you can always catch up with those on the playlist. Again, thank you for joining us. Dr. Irgau, today is my older sister's birthday. You probably want to say something to her.
Oh, happy birthday!
She's gonna probably hate me, but today she's
Hope you're having a wonderful. Well, it's gonna be evening now, right?
Yes, it's evening.
Yeah,
She's the best sister. So I have 2, right? So
yes, of course.
all right, Dr. Irgau, thank you again, and thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week with another topic on Bariatric Friday. Until then, have a great weekend and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.